And the number 70, sponsored by Be Nice Engines and Ohio Home Improvement and Schumann's. I believe that's going to be the number 12 of Greg Krieger out of Rootstown, driving in memory of his dad. Number 22, Steve Shupp out of Gannett-Houghton, sponsored by Greer Steel and also sponsored by his loving wife. For 331, Steve Long out of Akron, sponsored by Long's Auto. 8808, Russ Heater out of Alliance, sponsored by Tar Heel Roofing. '81X, that is Matt Kittle out of Garricksville, sponsored by MK Timber and the Pole Lumber Company. The 008, Donnie Polat out of Ravenna, sponsored by Collision Craft, Guido's Pizza, and Mac. And finally, that's going to be the number 43, Patrick Kaufman out of Wyndham, sponsored by Daniel Spence and G-Ville Napa. 4, 3, 2, 1, let them go, and they are off and running in the full-size truck event. A little bit slowly off the line here. They did grease the track up a little bit with that water wagon. There's a lot of room to move out here with only 8 vehicles for the track. Number 43 drifting down the side, Patrick Kaufman out of Wyndham. In the 43, the 8808 Russ Heater making his way back towards the finish of 08. That's the 008 Donnie Pullet. Back to 43. Got this rough time right now. On top of the concrete barricade. Looks like safety just a little bit more. That's going to be a problem. I don't know if we'll be able to get any of that horsepower moving up and down on the track. The 81X, Kittle. He's currently locking horns with the number 70, Vince Harris. Vince right out of the Rootstown. What we got going there, folks. Throwing caution to the wind is the 008 Donnie Pullet, ramming his machine right down to track central. It looks like he went down through there and maybe momentarily knocked the lights out of it. But the 008 back on the move. Donnie Pullet chasing down 8808, trying to push Russ Heater down to the far end of the track. The double deuce of Steve Shupp. Donnie Pullet out of Ravenna chasing down the double deuce. That's Steve Shupp. Thanks to my main man on the camera over there. He reminded me that I am not a local and that it's actually Janaden Hutton where he's from over there. That's Steve Shupp in the double deuce. Got his machine back down on all fours. He's still mixing it up with Donnie Pullet in the 008. Donnie not staying there for too long. He's back on the move, heading toward track central. Looks like the 81X, Matt Kittle, definitely sinking down low. That truck starts to sag and bend. Back to it. 81X still managing to move and make some contact. That's what it's about. 81X is having a bad night. Hold him up. Hold him up, drivers. Hold him up. Hold him up. Hold him up. I'm going to bring them to a stop down there. They're going to. Slinging the mud sky high. That's the double deuce. Steve Shuck out of Geneva hunting. Double deuce on the breakaway, side to side with Greg Krieger in 12. Now, 4 of them stacked and packed in the middle, 331. Looks like it's that extension over there. Two of them out, a couple of them right now trying to refire. The 81X, Matt Kittle. Looks like he's definitely sagging a little bit more. So the drive shaft problem could be a very big possibility. I think he may be reaching for the flag to remove that from the board. Absolutely. Matt Kittle rolled a night there in the 81X. 008 going in and putting a legal shot on that front fender. And a good shot from the double deuce of Steve Shuck. And 22 back there making some contact with 7-0 Vince Hamrick out of Rootstown. A lot of Derby drivers coming out of Rootstown here all through the night. Many of them Rootstown had a clean sweep of youth event for the top 3 drivers. Prize money in total. Down, Nick. Vince Hamrick is the number 70 and 12, Greg Krieger. And doggone it, the 008, Donnie Pullen. Coming to an end. And what a large amount of damage on the front of the 8808. Now we are paying 4 spots. 4 spots going to be paid. $12.50 to win, $500 for second, $250 for third, and $100 for fourth. All of these drivers guaranteed some prize money today. Number 12, Greg Krieger heading down to the far end, chasing down the double deuce of Steve Shuck. Right at track central, the 8808 Russ Heater with a whole lot of damage on the front end of that machine. You'll see that front fender and hood all buckled up. Comes Vince Hamrick in the number 70. All right, now Steve Shuck doing pretty well in the double deuce, bringing her back down. Greg Krieger in the 12, and Vince Hamrick in the 70. 8808 got a refired Russ Heater back on the move. That was a pretty solid shot between Greg Krieger in the 12, Russ Heater in the 8808. A whole lot of sparks coming off the fan on the front of that number 12. Definitely in close proximity, probably the radiator of the fan causing all those sparks at this time. Right now, 22 probably going to want to work his way off of those concrete barricades. Probably try to pop him up on top. And that is not a good place to be. That's evident by the number 43 down here. The 8808 Russ Heater definitely showing the signs. Very hot engine. 22 got some running room now. Steve Shepard bringing his machine back down. Wearing off. Russ Heater. Look at the number 70, Vince Hamrick out of Rookstown, bringing his machine down there in a big hurry. Contact on Steve Shepard, the 22, side by side with the 12. Greg Krieger, 8808. Got some Dodge fans in the house tonight. Double deuce. Hanging strong with the moment time. Steve Shuck out of Canadian Hutton. They're going to be stacking them up 3 deep. Vince Hamrick, the last one in there to make contact in the 70. And some steam starting to roll out from the front of the double deuce at 22. Steve Shepard starting to warm up as well. So all of them getting to that point of the night. The cooler evenings definitely help just a little bit. Right now, the 8808 of Russ Heater looks like he's stuck up on 331 over on the other side there. His tires are spinning, but so far not a whole lot of movement. Trying to get some of that horsepower hooked up to the trip. So far, things not going so well for the 8808. And it looks like he just got to where his time has expired. So the 8808 is going to be settling for a 4th place finish out here. He is guaranteed some prize money. Russ Heater, the 8808, already with 4th. Russ out of Alliance, and Russ sponsored by Tar Heel Roofing. sure. Looks like 22 might be having some problems in the front end. I can't quite tell. Looks like the steering wheel is going around quite a bit. None of those inputs. Yeah, so the double deuce right now. Steve Shupp going to have a rough way to go right now. He's steering wheel going around and around, and none of those inputs making her down to the steer tires on that 22. Okay, and the 22 indicated he is out of contention. So Steve Shupp going to be settling for a third place finish. Steve driving out of Janaden Hutton, and once again sponsored by Greer Steel and of course his loving wife. And again, congratulations to him for the third place finish. Now this class does pay $12.50 to win, $500 for second, $250 for third, and $100 for fourth. So again, we are paying the top 4 spots in the trucks. So right now it's down to a top 2 finish, and both of these drivers out of Rootstown as well. The 7-0, Vince Hamrick and Greg Krieger in the 12. And the number 12, Greg Krieger, opening the gates and letting his horses run a little bit in that 12 machine. Now that old truck's been through quite a few derbies out here. Hold them up, got the red flags flying out here. Hold them up, the red flags are flying. Looks like the 7-0 Calder quits right there, and that is your winner, Greg Krieger, emerging from the number 12. Again, Greg out of Rootstown, driving in memory of his dad and winning the Derby as he drives in memory of his dad tonight. So congratulations to Greg Krieger out of Rootstown in that number 12. Second place, hopping out, Vince Hamrick in the 7-0, also out of Rootstown, sponsored by D-Nice Engines and Ohio Home Improvement and Schumann's. So congratulations to those 2 drivers in the top 2. Again, we are paying the top 4. So we had Steve Shupp in 22 out of Janaden Hutton in 3rd. And 4th place was Russ Heater in the 8808 out of Alliance. So again, all of those top 4 are going to be receiving prize money tonight. That was $12.50 to win, $500. Okay, and we did have at least one other one trying. These are ready. Let's go ahead and give them a countdown, starting with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let them go, and they are off and running in the mini car event of our Smash and Crash and Tear 'em Up Automobile Demolition Derby as part of the 157 Portage County Randolph Fair. Hold them up, hold them up, hold them up, hold them up, drivers. Got a helmet out on the track, and that's not exactly where it's supposed to be. We need to get her back inside the automobile and up on top of the drivers. Like the green flags are flying, and they're ready to turn them loose and let them go. They've got the hammer down right now. My goodness, they are moving out here in the Buzz Bomb class. The little mini cars have got her up against the governor right now. Seth Kumos in the 13 XXX out of Atwater. Seems like he knows one speed, and that's hammer down, full bore straight ahead. He's going to take a pop in the nose with the 66 Tech. That's Daley Campbell out of Suffield coming on in here. 57 still running strong. That's Dale Golden out of Akron. 11:28. A lot of these drivers from last night, like Derek Morning, that's the out here. 911 putting the hard shot on the side. That's J.D. Myers out of Independence. 57 took quite a wallop out there in the driver's door. You can see that thing definitely got the squeeze put on it. A lot of these cars having a rough night all the way. The 912 coming back to big hurry right now. That's Brooke Habiger out of Ravenna. Working the grandstand side over there in that bright blue machine. Heading on down to the far end zone right now to get a little bit more real estate. Got the 01, Sean Petrie. Back towards track center in that orange automobile. Got a couple of the 01 out on the track. Red, white, and blue currently out there. That's Andy Miller. And the 32 starting to get a little bit warm up under the collar. That's Robert Heater out of Toledo in that 32. 67X coming back. Still running strong. Chris Moser out of Ravenna. These guys putting on one heck of a show in the mini car event right now. And up and away. 0-1 going after the 00. And I'll tell you, these little cars may be small, but they are mighty with the damage that they're doing out there. You can see the 911, J.D. Myers out of Independence. Taking a pop in the nose. They're having a fun time out there staring down the barrel of Andy Miller in that 01. Right in behind him, the 00. That is Duncan Heisel out of Randolph in that lime green machine. That was out here in the youth adult event. So it looks like it did some magic work back in the pits to get her ready and back fired up for this particular event. Many cars are slinging the mud out here. They've got the hammer down. The number 19, that is Russ Malcolm out of Atwater. Making his way down the center of the track. Black machine, he's going to take one heck of a hard pop in the nose, courtesy of Andy Miller in his 01. 177X, Tanner Boyers out of Suffield coming back in here tonight. A whole lot of sparks coming out from under the hood. Number 19. Hold him up. 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 Got to do a gas tank check. We got a fire on the track, so we're going to check all of these cars right now. Waving the green. They're going to be turning them loose and letting them go. And we have to just make sure the track area is cleared. Obviously, these vehicles pick up a lot of speed. The last thing we want is somebody to get hurt. So we do have to have the track area clear and clear. Looks like 44, Jeffrey Lee, going to be counting himself out right over in the center of the track right now. A lot of these vehicles getting very warm, and they've been through a lot the past couple of days out here. A lot of them running not just one show, but two. 555, TJ Mangold out of Randolph getting spun around, courtesy of Chris Villers in the 715. Here comes 177X. Tanner Boyers out of Suffield. And Tanner Boyers, one heck of a shot on the 555 down there of TJ Mangold. Spun around. Here comes the 66X. Weaving his way through the traffic. That's Campbell out of Suffield. Now the X17, 66X right up against the concrete barricade. That's Josh Burns in the X17. 66 66X. Bailey Campbell going to make it slide out of that predicament. Chris Villers coming in doing a bit of a day slide in there. 7:15 machine. 11:28 still running strong. Derek Corning out of the field. Buckeye ski machine definitely running on the warm side. Looks like both of our 01 may be out of contention at this moment in time. And Andy Miller will go out of contention right about the middle of the track. And not long after that, the orange 01, that was Sean Petrie, out as well. And Chris Villers in the 7:15. Hard shot. On the side of the 11:28, Derek Corning at that time. And what a hit, courtesy of the X17. Maybe that was Josh Burns. And the RPM revved up and taking her on down the track at a high rate of speed. Body language doesn't like having a whole lot of luck at this moment in time. 7:15, Chris Villers. Jockey back around in that white machine. He's back to back with the 66X. Bailey Campbell. 33, the 11:28 of Derek Corning. Back for about 3D. Tournament champion from last night. 177X. Tanner Hoyer out of Suffield, currently nose to nose with Josh Burns. The X17, and look at the steam just before now. Down at the far end right there. Definitely a warm ride in the 11:28. That's Derek Corning. Looking down and taking a close look to make sure everything's good to go. All the drivers down there. Definitely going to be warm inside the 11:28. Jockey machine around Chris Villers in the 7:15. See moving out of about 5 vehicles. They're going to be paying the top 4, $12.50 to win, $500 for second, $250 for third, and $100 for a 4th place finish out here. Derek Corning still keeping the 11:28 going. Buckeye ski machine. He's going after the X17 to Josh Burns. He's on the breakaway. 7:15 Chris Villers. Right in the mix there along with Tanner Hoyers into 177X. Of course, we still have Bailey Campbell in 66X running strong as well. Again, 4 out of the 5 will be receiving some prize money. And the 11:28 doing the right thing. Derek Corning stopping just before the driver's door of the 177X. That's the one safety zone that they do have out there. Make sure that safety is the first and foremost thing that these drivers watch out for. But here comes the 7:15, Chris Villers. Back in the mix, Josh Burns in the the X17. Still have 5 going for the top 4 spots. Oh, and doggone it, there went the flag from the doorpost to the 715. Chris Billers going to be calling it quits right now. So unfortunately, the flag just going down on the 715 machine. We should be down to 4 vehicles left. Okay, so with the 715 going out of contention, the ones that are out there right now are definitely in the prize money. So the 1128, Derek Corning out of Brimfield, guaranteed some prize money, along with Josh Burns in the X17. The 177X, Tanner Boyers out of Suffield, still running strong. And last but not least, the 66X, Bailey Campbell out of Suffield as well. And the 66X Bailey Campbell coming in at a pretty good clip going after the 1128. Drivers locking horns right now. That is Tanner Boyers and Josh Burns. Tanner in the 177X, Josh behind the wheel of the X17. Tanner Boyer making contact with a couple of them. He went down the track. The only one he missed was the 66X, which he quickly added that to his hit list. Continuing to come out of the 1128 Derek Corning machine. Very, very warm up under that hood of that automobile right now. And he's being chased down by Tanner Boyers. They're not able to get down there quite quick enough to get a good straight shot. Cars had a very rough couple of nights. I'm sure the 177X trying to make a repeat performance, finishing first in the mini event. Tanner Boyer is one of those drivers that had progressed up through the youth adult event, participated in that quite a while, honing his skills. And this year, the first year that he is out on his own up in the mini car event. And he's got a little bit of running room, and he is throwing some sparks and denting some cars up right now. The nose of the 1128 Derek Corning definitely getting crumpled up there with that last solid shot from the 177X. Now turning his attention over to Josh Burns, X17. Who's he going to go after this time? Looks like he's going to try to go after the X-17. But they're trying to keep him inside the arena down there to make sure they keep it inside of the concrete barricade. Right now, looks like Tanner Boyer is trying to press some of these cars down into the corner down there. But it looks like one way or another, they keep slipping out of there. Josh Burns and the X-17 getting nosed back out. 11:28. Derek Corney out of Broomfield, continuing to belch out a lot of steam. Hold him up, got the red flags flying out here. Hold him up. That's Josh Burns. Unfortunately, I believe there was something broke in the throttle linkage on that, so unfortunately couldn't compete at the same level, so they did have to settle for a fourth place finish on the X-17. We still have 3 to go. The rest of the drivers been keeping the RPMs revved up pretty high and doing what they could out there. But again, Josh Burns finishing in the money, finishing in fourth. The X-17, he'll get some prize money and the fourth place finish out there. So we have the top 3 yet to go. Oh, look at Tanner up on 2 wheels there, almost trying to drive over the stalled out traffic out there as he was going after Derek Horning. Down on the other side, Bailey Campbell, 66X. 3 of them keeping things going down here. The late going out here, it looks like we may have a flat tire possibly on the 177X. A lot of smoke coming off of that. Hold him up. Got the red flags flying down here. Hold him up. Okay, so we do have fourth and third already figured out right now. Again, fourth place is the X17 Josh Burns. Third, Derek Horning in the 1128. Now down between Bailey Campbell in the 66X and Tanner Voyers in the 177X. And a little bit of a running room for the 66X, Bailey Campbell, but things came to a hush out there. Hold them up, got the red flags flying. The red flags are flying. Not sure what happened, but it looks like the 177X may have called her quits, and that means the checkered flag is going to be going over the 66X of Bailey Campbell out of Suffield. Second place, Tanner Voyers in the 177X. Third is going to be Derek Horning, the 1128 out of Brimfield. And fourth, Josh Burns out of Larsville in the X17. So again, congratulations to all four of those in the top four. All are going to be receiving prize money tonight. All the prize, again, all of tonight's Demolition Derby brought to you by Lepo Rents and Charchone Chevy and Ford. Okay, looks like the green flags are flying, so we're ready to go ahead and give them a countdown, starting with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let them go, and they are off and running in the Smash and Crash Paramount Automobile Demolition Derby event. Going to be rounding out night number 2 of your 157th Portage County Randolph Fair. Paying the top 4 spots, 1,500 to win, 750 per second, 500 to win, 735 coming in. That's Josh Reed out of Kent, in the middle of the track, and behind him, I believe that was Billy Bob, in the 5-12. 7-18 with the hammer down, Jonathan Hartwell out of Deerfield, going after the Deerfield, 11-8. Novak. 391, jockeying around. 5-8 track. Chris White out of Aroostown. He's taking a shot from Josh Reed at 735. Already steam barreling down. We got some hits coming down on the grandstand side over there. They're stacking them up 3 deep. And John Guns looks like to have Richie Epling already out in 371. Not sure what happened to his machine. Didn't make it too far off the starting line tonight, so very unfortunate this early in the big car event. Stacking the pack, and they're pushing them on down here at a high rate of speed. The boost in that steel frame is going to be the 735 of Josh Reed. He's currently making a breakaway along with Jeff Elton from the 1811X. Jeff right now going after out of Deerfield, mixing it up with Jeff Elton this time. Novak in the T91. Now here's the 538. Going to be coming in here from the side. Shane Day in that right corner. Got a whole lot of running room. It's going to be interesting to see where the 109 takes her tonight. one heck of a shot on the drive tire of Josh Reed in the 735. Josh getting spun around. Pretty hard right there. A little bit of strut match. 109 and David Diver. 735 Josh Reed. 5'8" coming off the side. Chris White up the roof down. His nose is in. Billy Bob. There down the barrel is into that car right at 718 of Jonathan Harper. Good hits coming up to number 31, Eric Stevens on the receiving end. 5'8", Chris White out of Aristown. Mike Govin trying to make his way down the midway side of the track, and he's going to get almost up on top of the concrete barricade. What do you know? 109, David Diver. Still got 735, Josh Reed on his hit list this time. They are packing him into the middle of the track. Tim Novak, the last one came in there. He's side by side with Eric Stevens in the 31. Eric got a Newton Hall coming in there right in front of Jeff Elton in the 1811X. Diver to 109. Bringing her on down to the T91. Tim Novak coming on down at a high rate of speed, and he's going after Josh Reed that time as well. Takes back at the T91 group down just a bit. Things keep her moving down there. 1811X right in the midst of all that mangled metal down there. 410X going to be bringing it around the corner. Mike Govin side to side with 538 of Shane Day. Shane out of the tennis. In the right corner. Sheen through track center this time. Looks like he's going after 5'8". That's Chris White out of Aristown. Got him definitely split and separated down there with 410X. Around Jeff Elton. Going to be bringing home the mail right now to the 5'8". That's Chris White. A lot of these guys running from last night, bringing her back tonight for the second go-around in their automobiles. Darren Durr in the 8th. He's going to wiggle his way through. The traffic is out here right now. 5-1-2, Billy Bob. Track simple. He's got somebody hot on his heels right now. That's Billy Logan, the 88-19. Going to be spinning him around at this time. Back towards the middle of the track. Mud just a flying. Big V8s are out here taking care of business. Possibly just lost a tire. And that was a rough hit. The 88-19 took one heck of a hit from the 538. Popped up there, and I think for a moment wondered where he was at. He got his bearings, realized the 538 right behind him, Shane Day. All right, looks like Mike Govin out of a Randolph going to be calling her quits down there. Not sure what happened to 410X. They are out of contention right now. Billy Logan, 88-19. Working on the nose. Billy Bob's 5-12. Look around the corner. The J slide around. He knows into the side of Jeff Elvis, 88-19. And the 5-12. Billy Bob continuing the barrage of hits. The last one going over to Billy Logan out of Suffield. 109, David Diver keeping the hammer down. This time going after Tim Novak in the T91. Continues down there. Tim, run down, get a little more room between him and the rest of the pack. Continue a barrage of hits down there. So the 109. Right now, followed up by the number 8, Darren Durr. Billy Lowe squaring off 3-5-38. Shane Day. 88-31 definitely showing that it is very hot. Down there all by himself, choosing his next victim. He's getting a little bit of a steam build up right now. This time he's going to go after it. Make contact on the side of the elbow. 5-12, Billy Bob into the nose at 5-38, Shane Day. Right now. Flag off Chris White out of Rootstown. Billy loading in the 88-19. Out there, keeping her moving. That's the name of the game. Wants to make some contact. One heck of a wallop earlier on tonight. There's the cobweb. Kept on the rock. Going to be very sore come tomorrow. The 88-19. Darren Durr out of Deerfield, 5-38. Still running strong. Shane Day out of Ravenna. Sounds like he's lost another tire out there. I believe that maybe on the 1811 actually just Oh, and look at the 538 hopping in the sky. That was Shane Day going for a wild ride out there. He had the back of that car up in the air. Considerable height. Quite impressive. He made contact with the rest of the pack out there. Tim Novak in the T91 hooking on. 5-12 with Billy Bob. 8. And the 109 still running strong. David Diver out of Canfield. His machine fell out there. He momentarily may have stalled out. He got the run. Flash of fire coming out of the stack. Whether he was refired or not, a lot of sparks coming off the back of that last contact with Darren Durr. And Tim Novak trying to jockey around the T91. Next person in his line of sight is going to be the 88-19. Billy Lowe out of Suffolk. 109. David Diver back on the move this time. Looking at Darren Durr. Making contact down there. Mixing it up just a little bit. Jeff Elton looks like his car definitely sagging low. Right in front of the rear drive tire. Tim Novak in the T91 coming in from the side. On the 31 at this moment. Eric Stevens taking that last hit from Tim Novak. David Diver with another good hit out there. He's consistently performing well. And the hammer down in the 31, finding the skidding pedal. He goes after makes contact with Jeff Elton with the 1811X. Looks like the 31. Already lost all the rubber off that right rear. That is Eric Stevens out of Newton Falls. He's now being chased down by Billy Bob with 512. Billy Bob running out of a Wyndham. Billy Bob in the 512. Looks like he's about ready to lose the rear bumper off his automobile. Hanging on just by a thread. And that's Billy Loden in the 8819 right there. Side to side with Jeff Elton, 1811X. And doggone it, looks like the number 8 maybe hung up on part of his own automobile that may have folded up under that. That is Darren Durr out of Deerfield. Not sure what he's under right there. Underneath that 8. He's got him high centered right now. And unfortunately, he's not able to get any of that horsepower hooked up to the track surface. Get that number 8 rolling this time. We'll see what happens in the amount of time that he does have left. Guess it's going to be a time to see how many friends you may have out there on the track at this time. If anybody's going to give you just enough nudge. Well, it looks like we got a couple cars dragging their bumpers around. The number 8, that was Darren Durr, and that in fact was his own bumper that rolled up under his car right there. And the 512 of Billy Bob having the same type of technical difficulties right now. Number 8 is back running. Looks like the number 8 has lost his rear bumper right now. Finally shed that, so he may be off. Hopefully he's going to be steering away from that machine so he doesn't get high centered on it once again. These last 8 cars definitely lasting well out here. Built well. That punched a hole right in the side of the number 8 down there. They're going to have to keep a close eye on that. Legal hit right in behind the driver's door, but a lot of damage to that driver's side or rear. Billy Bob in a 512. Moving. These cars starting to get hot, starting to get wore out. Billy Bob keeping the hammer down and the RPMs up. And Tim Novak in the T91. Sure, he must be having some technical difficulties right now. The number 8 up against the concrete barricade, taking a barrage of hits from Billy Bob in the 512. 512 now turning his sights over to Jeff Elton in the 1811X. Billy Loden in the 8819 trying to refire. He's still taking use right now in the midst of that. courtesy of the 538 of Shane Day. That number 8 car definitely getting hot over there, starting to belch out quite a bit. Steam pouring out from underneath that, and I'll tell you, you can see all the pieces and parts of these cars. A lot of damage happening here in the past few moments. Magic cars definitely tearing things up here in this final Derby event, 2015 Portage County Randolph Fair. And doggone it, the 88-19, Billy Loden is out of contention right now. So they are slowly winding it down. We're down to 6 of them left running. 4 of those 6 are going to be receiving prize money. Again, $1,500 to win, 7 for second, 500 for third, and $250 for fourth. Looks like Shane Day is trying to refire the 538 at this moment in time. He's back on the way. Jeff Elderton, the 1811 right in behind him. Give a nudge. Jeff keeping that wagon moving right now. Looks like number 8 still running for him. Keeps her moving. He's going to hop out of the way as David Diver's 109 comes on in. Number 8, a big cloud of steam. Aaron Durr is going to be down at the bottom of that steam cloud. Aaron turning his sights over to David Diver, 109. Billy Bob in the 512. Getting his machine down through there. Looks like 31 got left in the sidelines right there. See how things pan out for the 31. He's over there. That's Eric Stevens out of Newton Falls. He's definitely running warm. Okay, looks like the 512 was counted out over on the other side right now. So maybe down to just 5 of them left running. Top 4 are going to be receiving prize money. Looks like right now the 512 may have the 538 welded to the nose of it right now.